Well, I think about competing all the time. I miss it. I miss when people ask me, "Do you miss your career?" And the main thing I miss is not necessarily walking into the arena and all that kind of stuff and having your hand raised, but I miss the brotherhood that I had of prepping for a fight. And so, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think about it all the time. Is it possible that I could come back? I mean, anything's possible, but is it probable? Not likely. I've never really been interested in a Champions League or a Legends League, just because once you climb to the top of Everest, you wouldn't say, "Hey, I just want to go back to Mount Everest and climb up to base camp this time." It just doesn't work that way. So I've never really been interested in the Legends League, but with the right kind of matchup and fight could definitely pique my interest. It's just not probable. So I don't want to give anybody any real false hope out there as if I'm definitely coming back or anything.
You guys have been cranking out the shows out in one championship in Asia. It looks like you're scheduled for about 20 or maybe even 24. There's still at least 12, 14 more to go this year. But Asia's huge as well. Where is it blowing up the most? Definitely. Is it basically everywhere in Asia, or is there just specific countries that are just, way bigger than the others?
It is. It's blowing up just simultaneously everywhere. Obviously, China's a big market, and there are several billion people. Just a tier 2 city in China has 20 million people in it. So that's a big market for not just us, but just globally for the world. And yeah, I mean, we're slated to do several more shows before the end of the year. We actually started out the front end of this year slowly, and with less shows, only to pick up the pace at the end of the year. And so we knew that was kind of how we were going to schedule things. Asia is a very challenging market because unlike being in the U.S., there was a point in time where mixed martial arts was banned in 48 of the 50 states, and once Nevada jumped on board, pretty much the rest of the states, they kind of fell like dominoes. And it's really easy for people from the West to say, "Oh, well, you're in Asia, so if you're doing a show in Singapore versus Malaysia versus Vietnam versus Indonesia," it's kind of, in your mind, you might think of it like you just go from one state to the next. But you have to remember that what one championship is doing in Asia, going from country to country, it's not like the athletic commissions in the States and the U.S. here. Look, what we've been able to pull off within, a 6-year history of this company basically is quite outstanding, because every country you go to has a unique set of circumstances and a unique set of situations that you have to deal with. And so for us, we'll be expanding to a couple different markets. I think later this year we'll be announcing Vietnam, possibly Korea. And then obviously we've opened up an office in China, in Shanghai. So there's a push for us in China as well.
One championship is still the leader in Asia. Can you say that?
Yeah. I mean, you can look at. We have different metrics that we measure ourselves by. We've had shows that on one championship broadcasts in 118 countries, and we have media deals with local partners in many of the regions where we broadcast. We have deals with regional partners in many of these different places. So we might, for example, broadcast in the Philippines on ABS-CBN, but we might also broadcast there on Cox Sport or something like that. That's not my specialty within the company, but it's quite a tiered system. So yeah, but I mean, if you look at some of the shows that we've done this year, we pulled off ratings in the upper 20% on different television shows, on different stations and whatnot. And to see something like that, the kind of sporting shows and whatnot that we're outperforming, it does show that we have the lion's share in Asia for sure.